Hello and welcome everyone to another quick edit video. This time I will be editing a picture of a stormfront over southern Germany. As you can see, the picture is quite underexposed. That's because I was in a hurry to capture this awesome cloud formation you can see here. Luckily the dynamic range of my DSLR is quite big, so I shouldn't have too many problems fixing the exposure. Like always, the first thing I'm going to do is to remove the chromatic aberration, and I'm also enabling the profile correction to get rid of the distortion coming with the lens I used. Now first I want to fix the exposure, therefore I'm going to reduce the highlights and then I can increase the exposure a bit. Then I'm increasing the shadows quite a lot. So as you can see, this already helps to bring out the dark parts of the image, though it still looks kind of underexposed. So I'm applying a graduated filter over the foreground and increase the exposure a bit more. Also I want to decrease the blacks to give my foreground a bit more of contrast. As I think that my foreground looks kind of too green, I'm going to change the color temperature. I'm going to add a bit of yellow and also a bit of magenta. Then I'm applying another graduated filter, also for the foreground. I'm not changing the exposure but the clarity here. Also I'm adding a bit of highlights. Okay, I think the foreground is good for now. Next thing I want to edit is the sky part of the image. Therefore I'm applying another graduated filter. Here I'm going to increase the clarity. Also I'm reducing the highlights just a little bit. And then I'm adding a bit of contrast. Also I'm increasing the whites a bit. And then I'm decreasing the blacks to give it a more dramatic look. Now I want the sky to appear a bit more warmer, so I'm changing the color temperature to a bit more yellowish color here. Also I am reducing the noise in the sky just a little bit, and I want to add a bit of saturation here. Actually I want to bring out the sky even more, so I am applying another graduated filter for the upper part here. And then I'm adding even more clarity for this part. Also I want to bring out the blue color tones on the right upper side here. Therefore I'm applying a radial filter. And I'm just increasing the exposure a little bit. Next thing I want to change is the split toning. First I'm working on the highlights here. I'm going to apply a warmer color like orange or yellow. And I'm also changing the split toning of the shadows, where I'm adding kind of a magenta look. And as always I'm adding a lot of sharpening. Okay, this was it for the Lightroom part so far. Now I am switching over to Photoshop. Now first I want to get rid of all those sensor spots you can see in the sky. And like always I'm going to grab the healing brush tool and just paint over them. Next I'm applying some Nik Collection filters here. The first filter I'm using is the polarization filter. Here I am just applying 100% strength. As you can see, the image is quite more saturated, but the upper right part of the image looks kind of strange, so I'm going to mask it out with a layer mask. Now I want to adjust the foreground a bit more, therefore I'm going to apply the Pro Contrast filter, and here I'm just adding a bit of dynamic contrast. As I only want the foreground to be affected, I'm going to mask out the upper area in this picture here. So I am applying another layer mask and start masking it out. Actually I think this effect looks really cool in the upper right part of the image, so I'm masking it back in. Also, I want to give my image a panoramic look, therefore I'm using the crop tool. You can just press C on the keyboard, and then I'm going to crop a bit of the lower part of my image. Also, I want to give my image a glow effect, therefore I'm using the classical soft focus filter of Color Efex Pro. And here I think I might go with the first preset. Again, I'm masking out areas which I don't want to be affected by the glow effect. Now, as you can probably see, there's a lot of noise going on. That's because I did quite some heavy editing in Lightroom. That's why I'm going to apply another filter here from the Nik Collection. It's called Define, and its purpose is just to remove all the noise in the image. One last thing I want to add is to increase the highlights in certain areas. Therefore, I'm going to use the dodge tool here. And when I am clicking here, you can see the exposure of the image increases a bit. Okay, and that's it for this.